Listen, this next topic I want to get to. I know you had a topic about absentee fathers and if that contributes to the lack of masculinity and feminine. Can you explain that topic real quick?
So I just wanted to talk about like absentee fatherism or just upbringing as a whole and how that shifts your perspective on dating in the opposite sex.
Mm.
Mhm.
Um, I just wanted to kind of say that, let's say you didn't have a father in the household and you saw your mother do everything.
Mm.
Um, that might I'm sorry, the masculine energy that you might see some women have, maybe it's due to that, right? Like, I just wanted to bring a point as to say that if you saw your mother do everything that a man should, you might have that maybe.
Expectation of the
Yeah.
woman.
Right. Well, as a man, you'll have that expectation of the woman. You'll think that you saw your mom do it all. So you might want her to do it all. And it's like, but that might not be realistic, right? Because if you're working hard, then you might be tired to be doing all the house things of the house.
Oh, but
Yeah.
again, if you have
But
the lack of father, real quick,
Yes.
for women, you might feel like, well, I don't need a man because I see my mom do it without a
Correct.
man. You get what I'm saying? So
Correct.
now your dynamic towards men is just completely different.
Correct.
So,
And that's where you missed the point because,
It's okay.
your mother shouldn't have had to do
Yeah.
it that way. She
And-
did it like that
mhm.
because she had to, and I'm pretty
Right.
sure if she had a choice, she wouldn't have chosen to be a single mother. Nobody wants that. Nobody goes into it like, hell, I want to be a single mother.
Mhm.
I want to do all
I've
this shit by
heard-
myself.
I've-
I want to do
I
this
mean,
by
I've-
myself.
I've been
Exactly.
hearing women saying I'd rather have
That's
be a
now.
single. Yeah.
That's with
No,
the current state
no,
of what the hell.
no. I got a video
Having a
from
baby
the
father is like having
80s.
another
From the
baby.
80s. You seen that video?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
funny.
a video. It's
That
like a
little
room. It's a
girl,
no. It's
yeah.
a room full of women.
Mm.
Women, and they all say they rather raise their child by themselves without a man.
Oh yeah, I seen that old clip.
It's very old. It's probably in the 80s.
They said because you
Oh.
gotta basically be a mother to that man too, because chances are his mother didn't raise him right,
Yeah.
and she raised him to be lenient. Because I feel like women are raised to be super strong, and men are raised to be like pacified, especially when there's a
I
single
don't agree
mother.
with that.
When there's a single mother, I feel like I've dated like a
Mm.
couple mama's boys, and when I tell you,
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like
like-
the dynamic is more so like they treat their sons like it's their husband and expect their
Yeah.
sons
yeah. So now
to step up in
Right.
in those ways, but I don't feel like that goes along with
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
you lost.
never
You
got
lost
ba-
us. We were with you until you said that last part because you're saying something different. He's saying that we're expecting our sons
be the
to
man of the
step up.
house, yeah.
I think you're saying that the mothers pacify.
pacify.
That's
That's
what
why
you
the
said?
sons. I feel like
Yeah,
the-
baby
in
them.
regards
Baby
they're not
them. That's
pacifying.
different than what you were saying.
in regards to single mothers, we're talking about single mother households, right?
Right. But that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. He's
I
saying
don't
something
feel like
completely
that.
different.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're passive. Well, maybe I don't know what you're trying to say, but what do you consider pacifying them? Because if you're saying like make sure that the son is known to be treated as a man and whatever the case may be, I don't know if that's what you're.
Young boys have to become men of the house.
Yeah.
Always. So I don't see how that's a pacifier.
Yeah, but
I lost my childhood to now become the man
Man,
of my
exactly.
house. I'm no longer a child. Everything, I'm responsible for my younger siblings. I'm responsible for adding money and food and cooking and cleaning. That's what I'm doing as a young kid. I lost my childhood because you didn't want to be with a man or build or find another relationship. Now I have to step up to be that man.
that's a
I
different
see
way
that.
to look
It's a
at it.
different way.
I definitely did not look at it like that.
Right.
I
I mean, it
didn't.
depends. It also depends on how the mother
situation.
is raising the kid, right? Maybe that might have been true for you, but for someone else, maybe they
Yeah.
were pacifying them.
Right.
Maybe that
Different
maybe they
circumstances,
were
yeah.
babying them and being over caring, if that's
Coddling.
yeah,
Coddling.
coddling.
Yeah,
But
if
I feel like
that's
it's a mother's
way.
duty to definitely, embrace their child, whether it's a female or a male.
Mm.
But you got to know what where the line of babying and
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
caring
but
for your
that
child, 'cause
dynamic
Mhm.
your
really
son
only
needs
works.
to have hugs from you too. It's not just the daughters that need hugs from their moms. They
But that
definitely need-
coddling only works in a two household, situation because the mother has the luxury to coddle the kids, while the father can instill the discipline and
exactly.
you know what I mean, that tough love in a sense, like you know what I mean. So
Mhm.
that very much works in a two family household, but when we just one family, one mother or one parent, then it's not gonna balance out. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because now I could totally understand where she might be coming from when she says that. You know what I mean?
I feel like it also depends on how many siblings you have. So
Mm.
single mothers with one kid and they have a son, that is a difference in the way a single mother of 4 kids is raised.
I can see that
Because
too.
the oldest have to take the lead and be the man, like he said. But in another situation where it's just her and her son, the son is gonna come out a little bit spoiled, and he's gonna expect his woman to be like his mother.
But let me ask you another question. What is necessarily wrong with that? Because the only reason I asked, because women, will say they want a man that resembles their father, right?
I don't want
And
nobody to
that's
resemble
and
my
that's the
father.
stand.
That's
Not
gross.
resemble
But
in
not
look,
resemble- yeah,
as
but
far
no,
as
like,
my
taking
father
care of them
took
or
care of
whatever the
things,
case is,
so
right?
yeah.
So, but when men says, you know what, I want a
No,
woman
still
that,
lost me.
you know what I mean? When the man says, I want a woman that vice versa can resemble the traits that my mother had, why is that looked down upon when we don't look down upon women for having that standard of, a man with their father? Like, you know what I mean?
It really depends on like how you was brought up. I don't want to be like my
Yeah.
father. Like I
Me
don't
either.
want.
I don't
I don't
want
want
a
to be
man
like
Not
any of
you,
my
but
parents.
your significant
Yeah,
other.
I understand.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be like his father. I want you to be you.
Like you.
And honestly, that's that whole saying.
We all have a model that we polish ourselves.
So, question:
I would want
where do you model a man? Like, what your man? What do you want him to be?
Yeah.
I want him to exemplify himself. Like
That doesn't somebody like
like his influence.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, what do you
when
pick
he
from?
acting sassy, you gonna say that nigga acting sassy?
Where do you
right?
He acting like his mom.
where do you learn what a man is supposed to be, other than
I
from
think
your own
that-
father?
Your father, yeah.
I
definitely.
think other from my father, I'm just really learning because what if we have piece of shit fathers? Like we really can't really talk about
and
it.
And that was the whole point of wanting me to
Yeah.
bring this topic up. Go ahead.
No, I feel like women learn mostly from the men that they date. In regards to what you said, I learned everything.
Unfortunately,
my father taught me. So basically, I have a stepfather or whatever. He's been in my life since I was 14 years old. So I grew up in the house with my father, and he bought me my first sewing machine. Like he was supportive and everything like that. He taught me how to drive, everything. But that was it. Like once I moved out, that was it. So when it comes in regards to love and how a man is supposed to treat a woman, I didn't learn anything from him. Like I learned how to take care of yourself, so you're self-sufficient from him. You know,
What about how he treated your mother? Like you didn't look at that and like
I didn't pay attention to that when I was growing. I'm not gonna lie, that was none of my business. And I didn't see him treat my mother no type of way. My mother is really the mean one. Honestly, my dad is super nice. He never cheated. He works super hard. He goes on the road. He don't have no side families, no other women, nothing. Like he's really super old school, but I'm not expecting my man to be like that because it's super unrealistic.
It's not though.
That's why I said I don't
it's
want
a
nobody
standard
like
that you would live by.
No, but I honestly I love my dad, and I feel like I'm on my dad's side I'm like a daddy's girl. Like I take his side over my mom, so I wouldn't want to treat my father like my mom treats my father because I feel like he does the most, and my mom is super ungrateful for.
Yeah, but you
him.
know
So
that what the type of good
to
man.
Be a pushover and let me walk all over him like my dad. I need a guy that's more stern than my dad. So I look at my dad's characteristics and I take the things that I don't like, and I take the things that like he is a good, faithful man and everything like that. But he needs a little bit more of a backbone. I don't want a man that doesn't have a backbone. You understand?
I understand.
So that I'm like super opposite when it comes to that.
It really is who your parents are. Like, and when you learn the downfalls of your parents, because they're not perfect. We're not perfect, right? Once you start to learn that your parents probably aren't the model of what you want to be or what your significant other wants to be, you have to then go in the field. You got to go in the field and try to figure out who's for you and who's not. So I understand the girls that say, you know, I want a man that's like my dad.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say that.
Spoil me, but it depends on if you had a father. Like,
that's why
if you had a father.
It's
so
true.
for me, similar to you, my stepfather raised me since I came out. Like whatever that situation was, he's been there since I could remember. I don't know my biological father. So I got abandoned by one person when I came to that knowledge. And then now my father, he's there and he's kind of like, you know, I'm not your dad, but I'm gonna give you everything that you know you deserve. That aspect of my dad, I literally love that. And of course I would want that in my man, but then the other aspects is like, you gotta know, like, your dad was a cheater. Like, if your dad was out here, because my dad treated me so good, but when it came to my mother, it wasn't. And then you as a kid, you're hearing all of this shit happening, and you like, but he don't treat me like this. And you realize, like, men are two different people. Like, they could flip it on and off, because I'm getting told, don't let a man treat you like this. He's doing the same thing. So it's like, it really depends on that household and what you grew up with. My mother was handyman. My father's playing the game.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm looking at my mom like, you know, she could fix this up. Right. So I'm going to have to start doing stuff like that. I start looking at her like, oh, she did it by herself. Oh, I could be a mechanic. I could get into a car. I could hot wire a car. Like, I could do all of this stuff that my mother's doing. So I look at her like, well, damn, should a man be like my mother? Like, it gets kind of tricky. Yeah. It gets kind of tricky. So
I think it's important that we like talk about model behavior too. Like, it's not all just, like you said, all talk, right? Like, you need to, as parents, and I don't have any kids, but as a future parent, like, say it louder. You
act the way that you want your kid to be.
Right on. Like, you can't just be.
If you know that they're a sponge and they're gonna absorb whatever
practice
your
what you
behaviors
preach.
are.
They see.
Practice what you preach. Yeah, and kids are not stupid at all. So it's like, it's one thing for him to say, oh, you know, this is how you should have a man treat you. But then if he's dogging your mom out, what, like you said, it gets confusing. But daddy, you did.
And then it's like, I grew up with a strict household. My mother was strict. They didn't graduate high school. They had to go back, get their GEDs and stuff. My mother had a baby at a young age. So both of them, they didn't go back to school. So I'm growing up in a strict household. I got to stay in my lane. I'm not going to interfere with nothing going on upstairs. But I know that after this argument, either one or two things is going to happen. My mother's going to yell at me, right? And these are things that happen.
Wow.
Like, and not intentionally. Like, if something is out of place, I'm going to get yelled at by her, or he's going to come downstairs and slam the door or something and dip.
Wow.
So, you know, you're dealing with stuff like that at the house, and you kind of like, yo, I don't know how a man should really be treating me. Like, I really don't know what to expect from men. So when you get older, you kind of like side-eyeing them. Like, I don't know what I want you to be like, because I really didn't experience that. And kudos to the girls that get to experience it.
I'm sorry that's your experience, and I hope that makes you acknowledge that you shouldn't have to settle for a man that's going to be like that.
And a lot of people go through it. I hear this like every single day. Like, I didn't have the best, and I'm not saying like people don't fight. Parents fight all the time. But like, it's what you hear out of those conversations and like how it molds you. Like, I would never want it. And so our standards are going up and up. We going through all of this stuff. So now it's just harder to get us. And we're sitting here in our masculine energy when we really just want to
be soft.
Y'all creating standards of a man that y'all don't even know what the man is supposed to look like.
A lot of women don't even know what they want.
And that's not fair to men. Because we just want a woman that's going to respect us at the end of the day. I think we were so willing to compromise. You ain't even got to be Beyonce. You don't got to cook every. Yo,
that's
we keep. No. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. You got to.
Visual people.
We are, but like I said, you don't have to be Beyonce. That's why I'm not saying you're not supposed to look good.
Like, you don't got to be a 10. Like, you can be a goddamn 7,
men are
6. You know what I'm saying?
I don't need you to cook every day. I don't need you to tell me how much money you making. I need you to communicate. I'm not going crazy about this perfect person. I feel like women have these standards that men are never going to reach at some point. You get what I'm saying? Just like, well, you got everything, but you a few decimals short in the pocket, or you're a few inches short in the height. It's like, well, damn, what the fuck?
But we compromise a lot, so don't even say that.
I don't know.
Compromise a lot.
Y'all
compromise in every
when
situation.
Y'all compromise, y'all make the wrong. Y'all compromising for the wrong people.
Exactly.
It's the wrong people that y'all making the compromises for, because
you're compromising for the Pookies and Ray Rays. Like,
because the man that's treating some women good, y'all
not compromising for that good man. That's
because look,
but he might be kind of corny, but I'm a compromise because he's doing the right shit.
You ever got played by a corny dude?
Girl, you mean?
I mean, girl. Sorry.
Played by a corny girl.
Have y'all ever got played by a corny dude?
Yeah.
It hurts so much more.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I'd rather get what I actually want and get hurt and be like, all right, at least he was what I wanted.
That's so dumb.
That's
dumb.
I mean, it
dumb.
sounds crazy,
That's
but
like,
it is what it is.
We had a woman who'd say, I give 2 examples right on the show. We had this, she was a plus size woman, and she said that, she couldn't date somebody that wasn't 6 feet, even though she was like 5'4", right? And she was, plus size. But, she was like, she would feel more disrespected if she dated somebody that treated her, that treated her good, but was short, you know what I mean? And, over a guy that was taller, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she preferred the taller guy, even though the shorter guy was treating her better, but she just felt like it would be disrespectful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like a weird. And then we had another woman not too long ago who said that Russell Wilson is corny. Like, she won't want a Russell Wilson. She want the futures. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so again,
or they'd rather cry in a Rolls Royce than a Honda Civic.
So all
you
of
gonna cry anyway. You might as well cry in something nice.
Stop crying.
I shouldn't be crying at all.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm just kidding.
I think, with me growing up, I was raised by my aunt for the half of my life, and then obviously that I met my biological mother, then I grew up with my biological mother. So my aunt was very much miserable. She was very much masculine in her tone and her mannerisms, how she carried herself. You get what I'm saying? So this is a black woman I grew up with who I seen behave in this manner, and that was a complete turnoff for me. So I think some men are growing up with mothers that they are very much in their masculine, and they're like, you know what? I don't want a woman like that. You get what I'm saying?
The exact opposite.
I want the opposite of that. Like, you get exactly.
Yeah,
so
like,
we go for the opposite of what our mother was. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to deal with that. We had to deal with that our whole life. That's not a pleasant person to be around. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I want to go for something else, which may or may not be them dating outside their race, or finding someone that's leads in the femininity more, or just gives them a different vibe than what they was growing up with around certain women. I'm not saying that's wrong or right, but obviously we have to take into people's consideration. Just like with black women, y'all have certain black experiences with black men that might shape why y'all might want a white man or a Hispanic man or whatever, the Asian man, whatever the case is. So we do have to take people's experiences into consideration of why maybe, they might be looking outside their race, unfortunately, to find, a preference or a love. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah. I think you just need to know when to, like, pull out that masculine. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with a woman being masculine in certain spaces, right? If you go to a business meeting, right, and majority of the people in there are men, you might need to put on your little masculine, right? Make sure that they know that you mean business. But in the realm of, like you said, dating and things like that, like, you also need to know how to tap into that femininity.
Yeah,
I think
we
that
all have
hard
that
balance.
energy.
Yeah, because men too, I feel like you could tap into your feminine. Like, if we're, having a heart to heart, or, and I'm confiding in you, you might empathize with me and tap into your feminine side.
Yeah, no, that's
but
it's
empathy
about
is
how
not
you
feminine,
lead.
Joe. That's not a feminine trait. Like, empathy is not a feminine trait.
Empathy,
Anybody can have empathy.
Yeah.
I think that when we
So
say
let's
men tap
define-
into their femininity, that's more like, that's what I feel is
really?
feminine. Like,
I didn't
On a
know
more
that.
emotional standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I
when
said
I say
empathize.
femininity, because it's like, I would want a guy to be so emotional on a level in which we could talk about anything with
But
each
why
other.
is emotion
But that's not-
considered
that
feminine?
shouldn't be
I think
considered
Emotion
empathy
is not a
can be
feminine trait.
a feminine
Women-
trait. Like, I'm not saying like I think women are much more empathetic. Like, you know what I mean? They're much more delicate in their appearance. They're soft. They're healers. Women are healers naturally.
Right.
Women multiply. You know what I mean? These are certain characteristics that we associate to femininity. Like, you know what I mean? So I do understand that empathy might be more of a feminine trait than like jealousy would be more of a feminine, which they say is more of a feminine trait than a masculine trait. Like, you see a man acting jealous, you're gonna associate that to him being feminine. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Maybe because it's
I don't
acting off
think
of
so.
emotion.
You know how many
Emotions,
men in the
emotions.
Bible
Once again,
killed
if it
each
has
other
to
because
do
of
with
jealousy?
emotion,
That
then-
jealousy started like with men. Like,
I mean, no, I'm not saying men can't exhibit that. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I'm saying usually those are like, associated with, because of emotions. Like, we usually say women are lead in their emotions, which makes them, which men need that. Men are much more logical and stoic. Like, we don't
It's
show
true.
emotions like that for the most part. Like, you get what I'm saying? So.